Hi, Lori Montre, trauma-informed eating psychology coach here. Over the last year, I've been asked on a weekly basis to share my thoughts on weight loss medications, who they're right for, whether I think they're safe, whether they work, and the biggest question of all, will I be able to go off of them? So, first of all, I want to express clearly I'm not a medical professional. What I'm offering here is not medical advice. When it comes to making decisions about medications, you should always consult with your healthcare provider. I can only share with you my thoughts and opinions based on the evidence I see in my practices. But I live in the world of diet, exercise, weight loss, and the psychology of eating. So I have gathered a lot of information on this topic over the last few years. What many of you may not know is that in addition to my Freedom from Emotional Eating course and my one-on-one support, I also work with a phenomenal doctor who supports her patients with weight loss medication. I provide the support piece for her patients through an online program that I created to help them get the most success from their weight loss medication experience. I also coach them live to help them deal with the challenges that come up along the way, and there are many. I help them understand how to lose fat and gain health, protect their muscles while they're taking the weight loss medications. There's a lot of things to consider on that journey. It is not just a matter of taking the medication and hoping for the best. This part of my practice has given me a real insider's view to hundreds of people's experience taking the various medications. I've also developed an understanding of what it takes to have the most success and the best chance of going on the lowest maintenance dose possible, or even being able to potentially go off the medication for some people. So you could say that I have my feet in both weight loss worlds, right? Medication assisted, and also the route which helps people understand the underlying roots of their challenging patterns with food. So I sit in a rather unique situation with information on both sides. So in this video, I'll share my thoughts on both approaches with you. And let me start by just saying that I have a lot of experience with what it's like to struggle with food and body. My own 30-year challenge with emotional eating and binge eating combined with intense body hatred was the impetus for me to dive into eating psychology, neuroplasticity, behavior change, and trauma healing. My painful relationship with food drove me to understand the underlying reasons for my behaviors, and my own healing is the reason I do what I do today. So, as I share my thoughts with you, know that I relate to where you are right now and how badly you want to lose weight, get out from under the control of food to regain your health, confidence, and power. And I'll also say that I believe it's entirely possible for you to achieve these things. So let's start by taking a look at the weight loss medication route. Today's weight loss medications, they're making a big scene. Drugs like Ozempic, Zepbound, Wegovy, Mounjaro, just to mention a few. These were all approved a relatively short time ago for the purpose of weight loss. And these are given by injection. And what we see is about up to a 20% weight loss is being seen with these drugs, up to. So if someone comes in weighing, say, 200 pounds, they could expect to lose on average about 25 to 40 pounds. Now, these drugs work in one or more of the following ways. They can reduce appetite, make you feel fuller, reduce the absorption of nutrients such as fat sometimes, slow digestion, help the pancreas make more insulin. It's not that all of them do all of these things, but these are the main ways in which these medications work. Now, some of the upsides are weight loss, lower blood pressure, improved blood sugar levels, and also levels of fats in the blood can be lowered. Some of the downsides are the expense, especially given that most people who start taking them will not be able to go off of them without regaining the weight. There are some side effects, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, or sometimes more severe distress in some cases. And the fact of the matter is we really don't know all of the long-term effects of taking the medications. The biggest question for most people is, will I be able to stop taking the medication once I meet my goal weight, or once I lose as much as I'm going to, as much as possible is possible on this weight on the weight loss medications? And the answer to that is truly, we don't know. Everybody's different. That's as much assurance as anyone offering you the drug can give you. And I would encourage you to be extremely leery about anyone who tells you that you will be able to stop taking the drug. They cannot truthfully make that statement to you. The fact of the matter is that most people will not be able to stop taking the drug, and almost everyone will need an extended maintenance period where they're taking a lower dose of the medication. And only a relatively small percentage of the people are going to be able to ultimately go off the medication completely without gaining back the weight. Now, I will say that the program I designed to support those on the weight loss medication route is aimed at giving you the best possible chance of being one of the people who will be able to go on a very low maintenance dose and then hopefully eventually go off the drug at some point in the future. I won't go into all the protocols that I recommend in that program, but basically it involves taking efforts to prevent rapid weight loss because when we lose weight too quickly, it causes your body's metabolism to adapt in a way that it makes it much more efficient, meaning you're just going to need fewer calories dated to sustain your day-to-day normal functions. So let's say if you used to need, say, 1,300 calories to just be alive, your body may adjust to needing, say, only 1,100 calories, for example. And this is a protective adaptation that was really brilliant for those times when we might have experienced famine as hunters and gatherers, but it is not so helpful when it comes to modern day weight loss. This metabolic adaptation will make it much harder to maintain your weight loss with or without the medications. So we try to keep weight loss at a steady pace that's usually less than about 2 pounds a week. Secondly, I recommend a number of dietary changes, avoiding hyper-processed foods, prioritizing protein, seeking to have your intake between 0.75 and 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight, of your goal weight. Greatly reducing refined sugars and simple carbs and increasing vegetables. Thirdly, I also recommend adding resistance training that stimulates muscle growth. Okay, so that means progressive overload. We've been led to believe that cardio is the key to weight loss, but in reality, protecting your muscle and even gaining muscle through the weight loss process is the real key to health, longevity, and long-term success. Cardio is still important, it's just not the main way to lose weight. People who have a high muscle mass have a much better chance of being able to go off the drugs. Now, we also have to address other reasons that a body might be struggling with weight or weight loss resistance. For example, hormone imbalances, stress, lack of restorative sleep, an unhealthy microbiome, toxin overload, and mitochondrial distress. So you can see that weight loss, even medication-assisted weight loss, is not a simple matter. There are still many things to consider and to do, even if you're taking the medications. I generally tell people that in the long run, in the long term, just starting a weight loss medication and not making any other changes is not going to get you where you want to be in the long run. You might have some initial weight loss, but overall, you still have to take care of your body if you want long-term results. Now, as I mentioned, few people are going to be able to go off the medication, and for most that will be able to, they will have put in real effort to support their bodies in the ways that I've described above. If you are on or considering starting weight loss medication, you should be prepared for a lifelong commitment. As I said, I support people who are on that path, and I love helping them establish new lifestyles that allow them to reach their goals by teaching them how to work with their brains to develop new habits in a way that is sustainable and doable. That old on the wagon, off the wagon, all of that is so unhelpful. But building a ladder, one rung at a time from where you are to where you want to be, that is the key to success. So I would be very happy to support you during your journey to set you up as best as possible to be one of those people that ultimately could go off the medication. Now, with respect to the other approach that I take to weight loss, and by this I'm referring to my Freedom from Emotional Eating course. In this course, I help people get to the underlying reasons why they feel out of control with food. Many people struggle with cravings and a drive to eat that is rooted in their psychology and physiology. My program helps them address both of these causes. It helps them understand why they struggle with food, and there is always a good reason. The real meat of this program is what I refer to as the three keys. Number one, learning to work with your habituated brain so you can switch off of autopilot and make choices aligned with who you want to be and your long-term goals. Number two, learning to work with your overwhelmed and stressed nervous system so you don't need external relief and comfort like food to deal with life. And number three, learning emotional resilience so you don't have to run to food to cope or avoid uncomfortable emotions. The work done in this program allows you to overcome limited beliefs and unhelpful thought patterns. It helps you heal past wounds, overcome overwhelm and anxiety, and reconnect you to the capable, resourced, brilliant version of you. Although the program heals your relationship with food, it does so much more. As a matter of fact, I have not come across anyone as of yet who wasn't capable of losing weight by working with these principles. Now, although I have nothing against weight loss medications, believe they may be necessary for a small percentage of the population, but they do not offer you the opportunity to heal at the root of your being and see yourself for the truly incredible person that you are. That's not something that the weight loss medications can offer. So, my bottom line advice for people is this. If you know in your heart of hearts that you are truly doing everything right, but you can't seem to lose the weight, you do not use food to deal with stress or other difficult emotions, and you don't struggle with anxiety, you might need medications to support you. But for everyone else, I would say maybe not start with the weight loss medication. Start with understanding yourself and the underlying reasons that you struggle with food and weight. And I'm not talking about trying another diet. I'm talking about understanding why you have struggled with your weight. What's behind that struggle? So before you go on a medication, you may very well be on for life, one that we really don't know all of the effects of and for which you will have to pay for. Find out what else you might be needing first. Then, if you find that you aren't losing weight, you can add the medication in later. The vast majority of people who work with me in the Freedom Program experience greater success. They lose more percentage of their body weight than they do than those taking the weight loss medications. But the results extend far beyond the number on the scale. There are certainly real metabolic challenges that we can also address together, but at the end of the day, the weight is the symptom of something else. And when we find out what that is, you can create a life of peace and authenticity. So, as I said, I support people on both paths. I have resources for you if you do choose the medication route. I'd be happy to work to give you the best chance of being one of those people who are able to eventually stop taking the medication and keep the weight off. But if you really want to create a new relationship with food, with your body, and with yourself to become the greatest version of yourself, I am ready to introduce you to that version of you. Visit lorimontree.com for more information on how to work with me. And know that whatever your current situation is, there's possibility. I have not yet met a person who couldn't lose weight and restore a healthy relationship with food. We can do this together.